Hello, welcome to the State of Federal Sector Labor Management Relations under President Trump. This is a shortened version of the presentation I gave to the Society of Federal Labor and Employee Relations Professionals on June 26, 2025. I'm Merrick Masters, Professor of Business. You can find me at my YouTube channel and on my email address. President Trump has made the most sweeping changes in policy in federal sector labor management relations since President Kennedy issued an executive order in 1962 giving federal employees the rights to bargain collectively. The topics that we'll cover in this presentation concern calculations that people make to provide support for unions, the domains of policies affected by Trump's regime of changes, selected executive orders, agency actions, and congressional enactments. The policy changes are aimed at affecting two calculations regarding support for unions, and they are related to several domains of policy. These domains include executive powers and managerial prerogatives, basic labor rights, the administrative enforcement of those rights, and union institutional security. Their overall aim is to raise the cost and reduce the incentive to join and support unions. These two calculations and employee choice to join a union, the policies proposed by President Trump increase employees' costs and risks and reduce the potential benefits of union representation. They also increase the cost of doing union business and reduce the base for union revenues through reductions in force, terminations, and recension of collective bargaining rights. The backdrop of this is an effort on the part of the administration and others in the social media to paint the federal workers as overpaid and underworked and to turn public opinion against them. That sets the predicate for all these changes to garner public support. Ultimately, what they want to do, and this is a case involving the UAW that I put together in another research project I'm involved in, but ultimately what they want to do to federal employee unions is to reduce their member-based income by making it more difficult for them to attract members and also to provide benefits to members, and furthermore to raise their operating costs by increasing the cost of litigation and servicing the members that they have. Some of the selective executive orders that have been used to raise the cost of union representation include rescissions of collective bargaining on grounds of national security, government-wide reductions in force, efforts to make the Department of Government Efficiency more effective in reducing the federal bureaucracy and reforming the federal hiring process. The rescissions that have been aimed at rescinding or excluding agencies from union rights on grounds of national security affect about 971,000 employees who are currently represented by federal employee unions. Their bargaining rights, according to this executive order, have effectively been rescinded. Agency actions have been taken to follow up these various executive orders and cover other domains as well, and they include efforts to force people to return to work, to shut down remote work opportunities, changes in performance management to make it easier to discipline and discharge employees, changes in merit hiring to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and also to make it easier to reject people for hiring if they do not approve of Trump's policy agenda. Furthermore, agencies have taken action to rescind the bargaining rights of airport screeners and to implement massive government-wide reductions in force and to implement the executive order on rescinding labor rights on grounds of national security. Altogether, although there are no precise estimates of this, there have been efforts to separate people from the federal workforce, whether these are firing probationary employees, reductions in force, closing of agencies, or other actions, including the deferred resignation program efforts to get people to essentially take buyouts and leave government service, affect several 100,000 federal employees. They've been challenged in courts, and their status is varied across these various court decisions. And ultimately, the prerogative of the president in this area of executive powers, Article 2 under the Constitution, will have to be resolved by the U.S. Supreme Court. President Trump, under his budget plans for 2026, plans to continue these efforts to reduce the federal workforce. And here's a breakdown of the litigation that has been launched to attack President Trump's executive orders and various agency actions. You can see where they fall, including in areas such as dismantling and reducing federal agencies and implementing large-scale reductions in force and terminating probationary employees. What I've done in the next several slides is provide a review of several cases that are covered in the website Just Security, which tracks the litigation on President Trump's policy agendas across a variety of issues, including federal sector issues. You can see here one of the cases that deals with reductions in force, including firing probationary employees. Another case involving reductions in force. Another case involving the deferred resignation or employee buyout plans. Another case involving the bargaining rights of airport screeners or transportation security officers. Those rights were rescinded. Another case involving the rescission of rights to bargain if you're in an agency that has a national security mission. And as I indicated, the president's order affect over 950,000 employees who have had their collective bargaining rights rescinded under this order. And here's a recent case that dealt with challenging the order and issuing a preliminary injunction to stop the implementation of the order, but this will ultimately have to go to the Supreme Court. Additional judicial review cases, these pertaining to national security rescissions. And also there are rescissions which are budget cutbacks, which are being considered by Congress to reduce the financial footprint of government. They have a rescission package in total of $9.4 billion that would eliminate certain spending. Here's a breakdown of the spending that would be eliminated. And also there is a reconciliation bill which is currently pending in the Congress. It's called the Big Beautiful Bill that includes a provision that would create an at-will workforce and charge workers more to pay for their retirement if they choose to opt out of being an at-will employee and ask for more government protections under law. In addition, in this reconciliation Big Beautiful Bill package, there's also a charge to unions for a dues checkout provision. There's a charge for official time that unions would have to pay to the agency, penalties if they do not pay that fine to the agencies, and also there are plans to expand presidential reorganization efforts. There's also been an effort to neuter the agencies of the federal government through changing appointments on those agencies and to reduce the budgets of certain agencies, including the Federal Labor Relations Authority, and also a proposal to reduce or close the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, which you can see in the order here, and also on a website announcement where they telegraph it, and a proposal under the budget for 2026, which will essentially reduce this altogether. These actions are sweeping changes that have faced aggressive legal challenges. Congress will significantly affect the future course of these actions, and ultimately this is a battle that will be decided in federal courts in the court of public opinion. I hope you enjoy this presentation. All the sources of material are provided. I look forward to talking with you in the near future. Thank you and have a good day.